It's 2 weeks later. We're totally, recording this at a different time. We've got, even though we're wearing the same clothes, and I'm still showing the same movie in the background, which is what we're talking about tonight, Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys. We are here again on Full Moon Fridays here on Outpost Unknown. Joining, once again, from Sweden, is Borb.
I have never been more excited to be here than to talk about this movie.
Okay, interesting. And, of course, here in America is Steve.
It's never been 2 weeks later harder than it has been right now.
Yeah. We didn't coordinate. We coordinated perfectly. We washed these clothes. We just happened to all coordinate and wear them again. It was very, very nice. So this is kind of like considered the black sheep of the Full Moon canon, I guess, filmography. Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. Now, obviously, we're in the midst of watching every movie with Puppet Master puppets in it, and I think we're almost done. We diverted last week to talk Demonic Toys just so that we would be prepared to speak on Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. This was directed by Ted Nicolau, who, of course, is an old hand. He directed all the Subspecies movies, Steve's favorite franchise, Full Moon franchise. And what the thing about this one is it's not technically considered part of Full Moon. Charles Band kind of disowns it because he had nothing to do with it. And so, again, referring back to it came from the video aisle, I'm going to read just a few excerpts here about the creation of this movie. It aired on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2004. One of the funny things about it was it went into pre-production in June of 2004, and it had to be finished and locked and given to the Sci-Fi Channel, I think, in October of 2004. So you got June, July, August, September, October, 5 months to do the pre-production, the filming, all editing, post-production, and everything to give it, because it was they wanted to be able to film or show it on Christmas because this is a Christmas movie. Everybody, this is actually a Christmas horror film. If we could call this a horror film, I don't know. That'd be an interesting question. Steve, are any of these movies horror films?
I think the first couple of Puppet Master movies try, but then it very quickly stops.
Yeah. Borp, do you consider any of these things horror films?
Yeah, probably like the first two, Demonic Toys, probably horror movie.
So what would you call what would you call these later Puppet Master movies?
Garbage.
Yeah, garbage, but also like horror comedy, very heavy on the comedy. That does not mean it's good horror or good comedy, right?
Yeah, I'd almost argue like the Puppet Master 3 is almost like an adventure movie.
Yeah, maybe it's like a fantasy adventure or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might be asking, how in the world did the Sci-Fi Channel get the rights to Puppet Master without Charles Band actually having any involvement in it? Well, the answer to that is Charles Band needed money. Full Moon at the time was in a bad place. I have a quote here from Charles Band. Again, this is from the book. Having been frozen out of his dream project, which apparently this was Charles Band's dream, he wanted to make an awesome Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys film. Band has understandably remained mum on this film. However, he did comment on it briefly during an online interview, considering the move to sell the project an unfortunate error on his part. Quote, "Yeah, the rights to Puppet Master were sold to Sci-Fi simply for the money. I regret it deeply. At the time, it seemed the right thing to do as we needed to get the funds, but it was a mistake. Thankfully, we have a new partner involved in the studio, new films in the works, and one of the requirements is that I be involved in all future releases." So, interestingly enough, Sci-Fi Channel did not want Charles Band involved in this at all and gave him a boatload of money so that they could just pump something out.
Leave us alone.
Yeah. Now, Ted Nicolau directed this movie. Of course, he did all of the Subspecies movies. You can go back to some of the older Full Moon Friday episodes if you want to listen to Steve and I
go
through
hot
all
garbage.
of them. I like the first two. I can't vouch for any of the other ones. Ted Nicolau said, quote, I can say that it was one of the toughest, if not the toughest shoots I was ever on. To set the record straight, we went into pre-production at the end of June 2004, and a finished print of the film was at the Sci-Fi Channel offices in November 2004. That's 5 months from inception to finished product. Actually, it was due to the film already having been locked into a time slot that couldn't be changed. It had to air before December 25th, 2004, and that was that. Nobody could do a thing about it. We were stuck. Now, we're going to talk about the great Corey Feldman and how and what he plays, the role he plays in this. Well, Steve, just give everyone a tease. Who does Corey Feldman play in this?
He plays Robert Toulon, like the great grandnephew of Andre Toulon.
But he's supposed to be an old man in this movie.
Yeah, he's supposed to be.
Yeah, they did a lot of hair and makeup.
Yeah, he's supposed to be old.
Did Steve freeze?
He was very frozen.
Steve looks totally frozen.
He has had it.
We are still recording, and hopefully Steve is able to. Hopefully,
I can hear you guys.
He's recording on his end, so hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Oh,
okay.
And there he goes.
Oh, he's back.
Now he's back. Steve, are we still recording?
Yeah, I heard all of you. I could see and hear both of you during all of that.
Okay, I asked you how old is Corey Feldman supposed to be in this, and you were just frozen.
Oh no, I started answering, and then you said I was frozen. Like, I could see and hear both of you during all that. I was talking.
Okay, well, go repeat
yourself.
Anyways,
we'll hope that that all turned out okay for the recordings. I blame Matt on his recording this off his Chromebook.
No, I'm not on my Chromebook, and you're the one that's recording on your end, so not me.
Look, you are the only one with a warning under your name in this call right now.
Whatever, it's fine.
Anyways, Corey Feldman is supposed to be an older man, but they wouldn't buy him a wig. And apparently they didn't meet his price for dyeing his hair. So what they did is they went to a Party City and they bought one of the cans of silver hair paint, and they just kind of lightly dusted his hair. And so the whole time he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Andre Toulon's great grandnephew. I'm 56 years old. I got these puppets that we found at a flea market. I'm Corey Feldman. Rent and utilities were due on the same day. That's why I signed on to this project.
I have an inappropriate relationship with my daughter."
It's weird. It's very very weird. Let me read what what was actually spoken about by the screenwriter of this film regarding Corey Feldman. So it says, of course, the elephant in the room is the lead turned by Corey Feldman. Dusting off his raspy frog brother voice from the Lost Boys, the former child actor is most certainly 100% wrong for the fatherly role, a fact not lost on screenwriter Joyner. Quote, "The part was written for an older man, an absent-minded professor type like Fred Willard. So when they went with Corey Feldman, that would have been fine, but the script needed to be rewritten to accommodate his age. Instead, they used a wig and all that stuff, and I know Corey tried because I talked to him about it, but it just doesn't come off. I just wish we could have run the screenplay through the typewriter one more time so the script would fit the star." So yeah, they also mentions the puppets. Now, the actual Puppet Master puppets in this are very different. They look very different from the previous ones. And so the effects team said, quote, I knew that we would have to keep the Toulon puppets fairly similar to the originals, so we obtained copies of what heads we could get, and Mark Shostrom and I resculpted them to match as closely as possible. There's a misconception as to why we didn't use the original puppets. The truth is the molds were thrown in a landfill years ago. Baby Oopsie and the rest of the demonic toys were redesigned only because we weren't doing the show with Charlie, and I felt that copying John Buechler's designs was unfair to him. Now, Ted Nicolau went on to state about this, the production company that bought the rights from Charlie for that one-time film was really a snaky production company, and everyone involved with that film were snakes. Also, the director of photography and I did not get along at all because he was a hack. The producers over in Bulgaria, where this movie was shot, were trying to make the film for the least amount of money possible. It says $2.5 million over on IMDb, but that movie was probably more like $250,000, so it was just a bad experience. And then it got rushed through post-production so it could make the December air date on time. It was just a terrible experience for me from start to finish. So that's a little bit of the background on Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. Borp, you look like you have things to say.
No, it's like interesting that this relationship between the Sci-Fi Channel and Full Moon was so filled with disturbances, because like the Sci-Fi Channel around this time channeling Full Moon energy a lot with
Yeah.
like their millions and millions of like Lake Placid sequels and whatnot. So it's like interesting. It would seem like a partnership that would make sense at that time.
Yeah, because
I
you're
guess
Charles
not.
Band Charles Band was just upset that they were copying him and like the way that he makes films. Like he
Yeah,
took it
yeah,
personally.
well. Just think of I mean, was it the Asylum, right? Because
yeah.
Sci-Fi created a relationship with the Asylum, and then you had like Sharknado, and you had all those tons. Imagine if Charles Band hadn't been maybe such an asshole about it. He could have partnered with Sci-Fi, and we could have had crazy Full Moon films instead of Asylum films. You could have had all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff like that potentially. But it sounds, at least from the book, that there was some sort of bridge that was burned. They didn't want him to be a part of it at all, which is weird because all the other people working on this film were previous Full Moon people or people who worked at Full Moon. They just wanted Charlie to have nothing to do with, so much so that now he has to put in contracts that he has involvement in every single film after that. And I think I had seen a YouTube video once where Charles Band said he hates this movie. Is that
Which
warranted?
is rich coming from the crap he's produced since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we'll talk about whether that's warranted or not. So Steve, take us through Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys.
It starts with a toy commercial for the demonic toys, even though we don't know that they're demonic yet. But basically, like mass-produced versions of the demonic toys are being sent out to the masses. We go and meet Corey Feldman, who again is Toulon's like great grandnephew or something, and his daughter, and they have the puppets. And so there's only 4 puppets in this movie. It's Six Shooter, Pinhead, Blade, and Jester, but they all look off. So it's really like it's blurred and Jorster. I don't know. They just look weird.
Yeah, you could tell they don't look like the original puppets. Like they had to create these themselves, and apparently the molds were in a landfill somewhere, which is why.
Yeah, yeah. They
How,
they
how,
they just look off. They look weird.
Different
Um,
colors too. Like Blade has like a purple hat. It's like purple instead of black. It's weird. Like yeah, discount
yeah,
clearance rack
it's
stuff.
very strange. But they're Corey Feldman's like, oh, it sure is convenient that we the Toulons found Toulon's puppets at the flea market or wherever they found these from, along with all of Toulon's notes on how to make puppet juice to bring them back to life. And so they've been trying for a while, I guess, to make puppet juice. They finally succeed. They bring the puppets back to life. Uh, they're happy, and we see like a little like ladybug, like spying on
They're
them,
happy.
and they're happy and they know it.
They're living their best lives right now.
They are. So they're being spied on by like a woman named like Erica Sharp. I don't know, Lady Sharp, whatever. She's the head of a toy company, and she is producing the demonic toys, and she has a deal with the demon Baal or however you pronounce his name. And on Christmas morning, the Baal is going to activate all the demonic toys, and she shipped out. I think she says at one point like 9 million demonic toy knockoffs to children all over the world. And so an army of demonic toys are going to rise up on Christmas Day, and like the price of this is the Toulons. Like the demon wants the Toulons and wants to spill their blood,
It's
and so
virgin
her
blood.
virgin blood. And so her goal in all of this, outside of she gets to rule over the world, is she doesn't necessarily trust the demonic toys, and so she wants to create her own toys slash puppets that will be loyal to her. She wants like some puppet protection, and so she wants to take the Toulon puppets and like bend them to her will so they can defend her against the demonic toys if the demon that she's made a deal with gets all uppity. So finally, the puppets have been brought back to life. The Toulons are successful in recreating the puppet juice. And so that night, she sends some just hired goons to go and steal the puppets. Well, the puppets come to life and they beat the shit out of the guards. Six Shooter just starts opening fire all throughout this workshop. Early on when the puppets first get revived, Six Shooter is like fidgeting. He's holding up his guns like, eh. And the daughter's like, what's he want? And Corey Feldman's like, oh, I bet he wants his guns reloaded. Let's do it.
Don't forget
And
the
so
heavy
he reloads
breathing
his,
when you do his
yeah.
voice.
Like half of Corey Feldman's dialogue in this movie is loud, heavy breathing, and it is so noticeable and so annoying. I'm Andre Toulon's great grandnephew. Rent was really expensive this month. Man, my utility bill was so fucking high. And so the daughter's like, we should not load this puppet's guns. Like, this is stupid. And Corey Feldman's like, no, we're doing it. And so when the bad guys attack, Six Shooter just opens fire, and the bad guys leave, but he also shoots a bunch of chemicals that start a fire, and so the puppets get set on fire. So the puppets spend excuse me, the puppets spend the majority of this movie out of action because they are so badly burned. And I don't know, a female cop shows up and I don't know, starts some stupid romance with Corey Feldman. She's very not important to the movie. Uh, I'm trying to think, like, there's so much filler in this movie from this point until you get to the end. Like, what exactly happens? Like, we see Erica Sharp is hiring virgins to be receptionists, and then she ultimately takes them to the basement to drain them of their blood, and that lets her summon the demon. And so
when enough
I don't know.
virgins are sacrificed, wherever the demon comes into reality or something.
Yeah. So like let's talk about the deal. She has a deal with the demon Bale. The demon was wronged by the Toulon, like a Toulon ancestor in the past, and so
Well, he says he stole the secret, right? Like Toulon or
yeah,
something took the secret. Which, what was the name of the
Sutek.
Sutek. So this is like replacing the Sutek part of
Yeah,
the
I mean
mythology.
this movie. I mean we've shit on how like poor the continuity is in the Puppet Master movies. Like I can at least understand this one because this one was never meant to like really fit into the series. But yeah, this is like a completely different origin story for the Puppet Juice from any of the other puppet movies that we've seen so far. But yeah, so Bale wants revenge on the Toulons, and specifically he wants to just kill the Toulons and drain them of blood at a very specific time on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
And as long as he gets to do that, he will activate the demonic toys, and the toy army will rise up and take over the world, and he will let Erica Sharp like rule the world in his stead. But she wants her own army of toys that will be loyal to her, and so she sacrifices this receptionist to summon Bale, and she said, "Hey, we need to renegotiate the deal. Like, I will give you the daughter, and you can like take all of her blood, but I want Corey Feldman. I want to take all of his blood to make puppet juice, so I can have my own puppet army. You're still getting what you want. All the Toulons will be dead. They will both be drained of their blood, and the Toulon bloodline will be dead and gone forever." I'm asking for this extra thing. I want you to give me Corey Feldman.
She mentions that because she tries to fuck Corey Feldman at one point in this movie, because she's like, your line will live on in my womb or whatever. Like, she's trying to have a baby with him or something.
She's trying to double cross Bale. Bale wants all the Toulons dead, and she is trying to get knocked up by Corey Feldman at the end. But I mean, I assume that she's doing that because then she's going to use her child to continue to produce puppet juice. Like, I don't think she's intending to be a loving mother to this baby.
What I think is hilarious is Corey Feldman. Every woman in this movie is like 3 feet taller than him. Like, he's so short. He's so short, and when he walks up to somebody, it's like these women just tower over him, and it was really funny and noticeable to me. He's a very short man.
There's from like the time the puppets get burned until the finale, there is so much goddamn filler where nothing happens. So you get scenes where Corey Feldman thinks the cop is really into him. They have a couple of conversations. Uh, you get scenes of Erica Sharp talking to the mayor, and the mayor is like, "Oh, I'm so happy to have this toy company in our town where you're willing to give all these toys away to the underprivileged children." Corey Feldman sneaks into the Sharp Toy Company's warehouse to investigate what's going on because they figure out that he's being spied on by Eric Sharp. He gets attacked by Baby Oopsie. There's just so much filler from the time the puppets get burned until the finale. So I'm just going to skip to the end because nothing that happens in between these two moments is important
Hold on.
in any way, shape, or
Well,
form.
there's things here.
Go ahead, Borb.
Oh, yeah,
You look
yeah.
like you want to say something.
I really enjoy the scene where they're like figuring out that they've been spied on, and so they dismantle this little ladybug toy, find a camera inside of it, and they put it under a microscope, and they're like, "Oh, there's a serial number here," and then they whip up this laptop, and then they go to whatever they call their version of Google in this universe, serial finder,
Serial searcher.
serial searcher. Um, they put in the serial number and they find the website, and like it's difficult to like explain without showing someone the movie, but the way everything is handled is just insane. Like they are typing things on the computer, and meanwhile like nothing was going on screen is correlating to what they're doing with the like mouse and keyboard. It is glorious. I really enjoyed this.
We also get multiple sequences here of Baby Oopsie dropping his pants and like farting his way into like killing other people. So you do get that.
He propels himself with like a rocket with his farts, and that's how he like latches onto people and attacks them.
Oh, wow, the way when you say it like that, Steve, it sounds so dumb.
It really is.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we just skip to the finale? Do you disagree that all of this is filler from basically the point where the puppets get burned until the end?
I'm going to have an unpopular opinion here. I was actually much more entertained and engaged with this movie than I have been the previous 3 or 4 Puppet Master movies we've watched. For whatever reason, I was watching. It was so stupid. Like as soon as Corey Feldman pops up and he's got that horrible wig with the silver thing, he's acting like this old man. It was so absurd and stupid that for whatever reason, I was just having a ton of fun with this. I was like, this is just hilarious. Now, I will say to me, and maybe I obviously we had a different experience, Steve. I felt like there was a lot of puppets on screen in this movie throughout the course of it. Whether it was the Puppet Master puppets or the demonic toys, it always seemed like they were at least spreading it in there. They did this weird kind of stop motion-y sort of thing with the puppets, which I thought it looked bad, but I thought it was fun. I was like, what is this strange stop motion? It was like stop motion is not really smooth in the traditional sense, but it was like this jerky kind of stop motion thing. I like it. Of course, we're going to get to it, but when the puppets sort of get fixed and whatnot, I don't know, man. Like something about this movie I enjoyed while I was watching it, and I did not expect to. But we'll get to.
I am 100% with you. I have a lot of fun watching this. But it has like this fever dream-esque quality to it. Like there's this scene where the lady cop, because she is like doing surveillance or something, whatever, for this event at the toy factory, and Eric Sharp gives her 2 presents to give to her niece and nephews, and these are of course toys that will be activated at Christmas. Whatever, it's not important. And she goes, and there's like this interstitial scene where she goes and delivers these presents. And like the children run up to her, they hug her, and then they start singing Jingle Bells, but they sing the wrong lyrics. It's in Christmas House. They're like Christmas house. And it's like, what's going on?
No, that's the lyrics from the toy commercial in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, that's not as fun. That's not as fun.
Just pretend.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I ruined it for you.
Pretend Steve didn't say that part. Just live your best life enjoying this movie. It's totally
okay. But it's like it's whatever. That's just a small example. It's like filled to the brim with just absolute nonsense in a way that I really respect.
It's so weird. Like there's that whole sequence when the lady cop first shows up. I don't remember what her name is, and she's like suspicious, and they're doing this whole like wacky trying to hide the puppets from her, like Corey Feldman and the daughter, like leaning in front and doing all this weird stuff. I'm like, what the fuck? This is just weird, but it's weird in a way that I respect the strangeness of it, if that makes any sense, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. But it gets even better when we get to the finale, Steve. So go ahead and let us know about how the finale.
All right. Well, after like the hour of filler, the puppets finally get repaired. It's going to be like it's going to be an attack. Corey Feldman and the lady cop, I think her name is Detective Russell, and the daughter are going to go and they're going to go try to kill the demonic toys and Erica Sharp. And so Corey Feldman repairs the he repairs the puppets and he gives them all new parts. And so Jester gets like a big like spiked ball mace on the end of one arm.
Pinhead Jester, love it.
It's Jorster. Pinhead gets like two like robot arms. Six Shooter gets the biggest like overhaul. He gets like the Terminator-esque like metal plate on the side of his face, and he gets 6 robot arms with laser beams on the end of them. And then Blurred, he just gets he just gets a slightly bigger blade and a slightly bigger hook, and that's all he gets.
Yep.
And so they're gonna go attack Sharp Industries, and Corey Feldman's like, wait a minute, I need to pee. Hang on. And so he goes off to pee.
Stupid.
And so while he's peeing, the Sharp Industries people attack and take the puppets away and kidnap the daughter. And so now, and also like they knock out the cop, so she's unconscious. And so Corey Feldman comes out and everyone's gone from like the world's longest pee. And so then he's told, hey, if you want your family back, surrender yourself to Sharp Industries. And so once again, Baby Oopsie farts his way onto Corey Feldman and knocks him out. And so I almost said Forey Keldman. But Corey Feldman goes to Sharp Industries, where the puppets break out of, because they took like the puppet cases they were in and put it in like a steel container so they couldn't get out. But Six Shooter uses the new laser beams to cut a hole in it, so the puppets escape. Corey Feldman reunites with Cop Lady. They go down to the secret spooky murder basement to rescue Corey Feldman's daughter. And when they get there, Belle the Demon has showed up in a Santa Claus outfit.
It's so funny. It's like I was laughing throughout this at how stupid it all was, but in the process, I was being highly entertained. I don't know.
We also forgot to mention the scene where the demon first gets introduced, and they just like rotate the camera 360 degrees around these characters while they're like having the Erica Sharp and whatever the demon's name is,
Bale.
Bale. And they're hashing out this deal, but it's like the camera is going around them, and it was obviously like it looks like it's supposed to be one take. Yeah. Like they were supposed to do this, but they were not able to get this in one take. So like the editing is just insane.
It just kept cutting at a certain spot when his head went around to the camera. It's like,
yeah.
Well, anyways, the puppets fight. Like there's this like Iron Maiden style device that they put the virgin girls in to drain them of blood, and so Corey Feldman's daughter is in this, and like the spikes are about to poke her and start draining her blood, and of course the good guys don't want that to happen, so like Blade chops off Jack Attack's tail at one point. Jester like uses his spiked ball and actually like punches Jack Attack in the face and like kills him.
Kills
So
Jack
Jester, that's why that's the only reason Matt likes this movie, because Jester did something.
Look, that's just a cherry on top of this wonderful Sunday that is Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. It was just cool to see Jester kick some ass.
Blade does this like helicopter spin, which tears the teddy bear to shreds.
Right. Incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah. How do you not like that? As a Blade fan, or as a Blurred fan, Steve, how
Blurred.
do you not like that?
It's not Blade, it's Blurred. And so technically only Jorster has done things. Jester has still not done anything. Six Shooter is like alongside the cop, and they're shooting at the bad guys. Pinhead has this ridiculous slap fight with Baby Oopsie, and then like crushes Baby Oopsie's head and like throws him in this pit. The demon gets summoned, and the demon's like, oh well, shit, we were, it's sunrise.
This is so funny.
It's sunrise on Christmas Day, and like her blood's not drained yet. That means the deal's off. Miss Sharp, you're coming to hell with me. So the good guys didn't actually beat the bad guys. They just kind of ran out the clock until the deal was off.
It's so weird because the demon, like Bale, isn't even like really pissed off about it. He's like, "Oh shit, the sun's up. I guess you're coming down to hell with me," and just takes the evil lady away to hell. And that's it. It's over. I'm like,
the puppets, are okay. The Borp has left. Corey Feldman and his daughter get invited to Christmas dinner with the cop, and they exit the scene like singing Jingle Bells or something, and then Baby Oopsie comes up from the pit and says Merry Christmas, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. We've been waiting a decade at that point to see this movie. It was rated PG-13, just FYI. So it wasn't. There's hardly any blood or violence in this at all. It's basically just the puppets killing each other. But so we know what Steve thinks. We'll get to that. But Borp, your overall thoughts on Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys?
I had a really good time watching this movie. It's not good in any way. But this is one of the ones that I've enjoyed watching the most, because it's like it like hit for me, like the sense of humor here. Some of it is intentional, a lot of it is not. Some of it I'm like sort of 50-50 on if it was intentional. Like there's a lot of editing choices in particular that I feel like this has to be comedic. Like there's a point where a character, they do this countdown thing where it's like,
oh yeah,
3 days till Christmas, 1 day till Christmas, 18 hours till Christmas, 10 hours till Christmas, 4 hours till Christmas.
Out of the blue, it just will cut to like 18 hours before Christmas morning.
It's like the same shot of like a Christmas, a fuzzy out of focus Christmas tree.
Yep.
Yeah, and it like hit for me in a way where like every time they did that, I laughed harder. And so by the time when they got to the end, and they're like, in 4 minutes, everything's going to be over, and then it flashes, and it's like 4 minutes till Christmas, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I feel like that has to be intentional. I had a really good time. I think the energy between Corey Feldman and, well, everyone else in this movie is like insane.
Corey Feldman knew the type of movie he was in, and he was just hamming it up,
for sure. And it's like why is he talking so much to his daughter about like the women he finds attractive? It's just so weird.
There's that one sequence when they're getting ready, whatever, and Corey Feldman at this point has found out that this evil lady needs virgin blood or something like that. He goes to his daughter. He's like, "You are a virgin still, right?" And then the daughter's like, "I'm not going to answer that." And then he gives this weird smile. I'm just laughing my ass off. I'm like, this is so fucking weird It's so weird. It's so, like I said, it's not good. It's not a good movie at all. But for whatever reason, I got more entertainment. I have not had this much entertainment value out of a Puppet Master movie since the remake that we watched. That it was just balls to the wall puppets and ridiculous, crazy stuff. And I appreciated that about this film. And what was weird is like everybody apparently hates this movie. Steve's probably going to tell us why he hates this movie, but I had so much fun with it. I just thought it was fun and entertaining. Steve, go ahead and give your incorrect opinion on Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys.
I could not wait for this movie to end. I started watching it on Tubi because that's where I knew it was. At one point, I paused it and checked to see if it was on YouTube so I could make use of the 1.5 speed button. It's not on YouTube, so that's not going to save me. Like I am not above enjoying a so bad it's good movie. Like there are plenty of movies that are just stupid dog shit garbage that I enjoy watching. I get a laugh out of. None of the humor in this movie hit for me.
Okay.
This was a slog to get through. I hate it. This is awful. It's not like this is like bad on purpose. So it's not like I'm not putting it on like the lowest tier where like the crappy like Axis trilogy and Blade standalone is. But this is dog shit. I don't think I laughed a single time watching this movie.
And that's probably it. Your enjoyment of this movie is going to completely come down to whether or not the ridiculousness of it makes you laugh. If it doesn't, you're going to have a hard time getting through with it. Because I don't disagree with anything Steve has said. It is a bad fucking movie. It's real bad. But for whatever reason, I was laughing, and I don't generally laugh at comedy. Like, comedy stuff is not my thing, but for whatever reason, I was laughing.
So your opinion should not be trusted on this film.
Hey, all I can give is my honest reaction. My honest reaction was I was laughing through this. I had a good time with this. The absurdity of it all. I'm sitting here thinking, like, how does this even exist? Like, I can see Charles Band hating this for sure. Like, being like, they took this great thing that I built and they bastardized it. But I loved the different, like the Robo puppets. I thought the brief amount of time we actually get to see the puppets fight the demonic toys, I thought was fun. And again, another thing is, the puppets are good guys in this. This is probably one of the only Puppet Master movies in which the puppets are good guys that I actually enjoy, which, for whatever reason, that's the thing. I was happy watching them kill the demonic toys and all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what can I say, Internet? I liked Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. And Steve's outvoted 2-1. So clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly he's
wrong. Do we know why this took such a long time? Because this was like teased in the 90s. It's not like a Freddy vs. Jason thing where like they had to figure out the rights and everything.
Yeah, it doesn't mention why it took so long. I know that Charles Band was always, hey, I'm going to make this movie, and then it would never come out for years and years and years.
Okay.
What I would imagine is he planned to make the movie. I think the Paramount deal sort of fell apart a year or two after he announced it, and that probably put a crimp in everything. And then by the time of the early 2000s, Full Moon was almost dead, which explains why he sold the rights to this to Sci-Fi to try to get whatever money he could to keep Full Moon afloat. And good for him. This was originally, I forgot to mention this, was originally supposed to be filmed in his castle in Italy. So it was going to be Demonic Toys versus Puppet Master in his castle, and whatever storyline that was going to be, I don't know. But that would have been cool to see, just the atmosphere, because all the sets on here look fucking cheap. You could tell like no money was really put into a lot of this at all. But it would have been cool to see what it would look like in sort of like a medieval castle setting, and the set design, production value that would have brought. But we don't get that, unfortunately. But hey, man, for what it's worth, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this. So, Steve, we got one more, right? Just one more Puppet Master movie.
More.
Tee us up.
Next.
Tee us up. What are we watching next?
The next and final Puppet Master movie in the Puppet Master like chronological order, as far as we can tell, is The clip show, Puppet Master: The Legacy. We thought we saw a lot of like stock footage in previous Puppet Master movies. No, Charles Band made an entire movie built around footage from previous movies.
Yeah.
I remember it being like insultingly bad.
Yep.
So join us next time where we finish poorly with Puppet Master: The Legacy.
Or maybe we'll finish on a high, as it'll bring back all the high points of all the films we've watched and sort of tie it all together. Because I agree with you. I remember when I watched this, I think it came out in the late 90s or something, and I was enraged. Like, I could not believe that this was the kind of bullshit that Charles Band was doing. At the time, you're like, oh yeah, I like Charles Band a lot, and this felt like highway robbery. Like he was just trying to wring as much money out of Full Moon fans as he could. So yeah, Borp, I'll be interested to hear what you say about Puppet Master: The Legacy as we sort of finish this up. And who knows, maybe a new Puppet Master movie will be released in between the 2 weeks that we discussed this, but we shall see. So thank you, everybody. Hit that like and subscribe button. I say that because it makes Steve cringe. Hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. The final Puppet Master movie, Puppet Master: Legacy. See you later, everybody.